Today we're going to talk about Canada. Canada is a country located in North America above United States. It is known for being a peaceful country and a great living area. But today we're going to talk about 6 topics that are going to give us an idea about the life of a teen in Canada. First, we have the sports. The most common sports in Canada are ice hockey, lacrosse, football, soccer, basketball, curling, and baseball. Its official sports are ice hockey and lacrosse. Youth tends to practice more hockey than the other sports and making it the most popular sport in Canada. And the better paid, of course. Hockey is often picked as not only as a sport and to practice, but as a career and as a job that teens like to follow. Most of their idols are hockey players because they are the role models that they want to follow. Second off, we have drugs and alcohol. In Canada, drugs are hard to get except for cannabis or marijuana. The average use of a teen starts at the 16 years old, which is way too low, and not as much as here in Colombia, but anyways, it's quite low. The 90% of the teens that had asked were asked in an statistic question answered that they have a in Canada, drugs are hard to get except for cannabis, which the average use starts at the 16 years old, which is quite low, and the alcohol, on the other side, um, starts being used between the 15 years and a half and 16 years. In in an average they did on 2015, the 99% of the population said in their lifetime they had at least tried once alcohol or cannabis. Both of these are illegal at a young age. Alcohol starts being legal when you hit the 18 years old in some states, and in other states it's 19 years old. Marijuana never stopped being illegal, and depending if you consume marijuana, you produce marijuana, or you traffic marijuana, your jail time will serve between 5 years up to a lifetime. Um, this proves that it is easy to get in contact with these two substances, marijuana and alcohol. Nevertheless, other drugs are not as easy to get, different from Colombia. Now let's talk about school. School in Canada, they give you quite choices. So you have the typical urban school, or you have the suburb school where you go to a campus and you live there. Um, Schools can be either private or public. That depends on you. Public being free, and private ranging its cost from low to very high, depending on the quality of of education you want to get. And 99% of the population learns to read and write when they hit the majority of age, um, and they learn English and French. These are their national languages, and uh, you mostly learn French in the east side of Canada, and you learn English on the west side of Canada. Most Canadians start their school time between the 5 and 6 years old up to their 17 and 18 years old. kind of the same as here in Colombia, but instead they have different grades. They go from kindergarten up to grade 12, different from Colombia, which is pre-kinder to grade 11. Now, politics. Youth in Canada and basically in the whole world, they don't participate in politics. They don't have the right to vote, but yet they can have their political opinion. A state test done in 2016 after the election of Trudeau, the current prime minister, was proven that 70% of your youth approve or like what Justin Trudeau is doing at the presidency of Canada. Next, we have science and technology. As the country is next to USA, which is one of the two centers of technology and science, the other one being Japan, Canada receives a lot of impact from United States in its culture. Um, the changes that happen in US and the trends that go in the US um, get to Canada and get in contact with the youth. The government uses around 7% of the gross domestic product on 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 school science and research, which means that the open capacity for students to go and make research, to study, to progress, it's very high, and they can choose this path whenever they like. Often Canadians don't pick this path, maybe because they don't find it interesting. But some of the kids that had taken this path had taken it way too high and are quite acknowledged right now. Um, Now let's talk about lifestyle. As we already mentioned, the trends from the US going to Canada, making the lifestyle in Canada very similar to the lifestyle in the United States. Anyways, this can always changes between being at Toronto or being at Ottawa, Vancouver, in a big city, or being at the outside of the being at the countryside in provinces like New Brunswick, where basically your parents are farmers, etc. Which means that you can either be a practical guy with tools, a lumberjack, for example, or be quite self-centered in the community. This also changes between the east and the west. The east, when they were conquered, it was conquered by the French, so they have very French roots, and the west was captured by the English. So it changes very much between the two sides of Canada. Also, if you are on the south of Canada or on the north of Canada, it also changes because of the temperature. The fashion is not the same. The way you behave is not the same. Some are in the south they are very liberal, for example, and in the north they are very conservative. Thank you very much.